Hello everyone, welcome back to PropelAPilot. This video is a very interesting video because of the way the idea for this video originated. I was doing a one-on-one ground session with someone online as they booked it through PropelAPilot's website, and the idea of this one-on-one ground sessions is to help students clarify their doubts, solve any misconceptions they have, and help them prepare for check rides, state checks, etc. When I was going through a lot of concepts that the student wanted me to go over, I realized that there are a few of these things which are very common to a private pilot FAA check ride, and that's why I decided to make this video series where I'll be talking about these things one at a time. If you are also a student who is preparing for a check ride, for a state check, or wants to clear their doubts, check out the link in description to book a one-on-one ground session with me, and I will help you understand and learn for the check ride or solve your doubts. Alright, let's see. The first question was regarding airworthiness. Now, would you take a car on a road trip which has a broken alternator belt? No. Would you ride a bike which has brake issues? No. Would you fly an airplane without an airspeed indicator? Probably not. Please don't. FAR 91.7 alpha requires that no person may operate a civil aircraft unless it is in an airworthy condition. Subsection B of the same section provides that the PIC of an aircraft is responsible for determining that the aircraft is in a condition for safe flight, and that the PIC must discontinue the flight when the aircraft encounters unairworthy mechanical, electrical, or structural conditions. There is another regulation that talks about products, parts, appliances, and materials, which defines airworthy as aircraft conforms to its type design and is in a condition for safe operation. In simple words, airworthiness standards are the standards of aircraft conditions that any aircraft must meet before it can be taken out for flying. The aircraft must be safe for flying, and that is the primary purpose of airworthiness regulations. As you become a private pilot, you will be the PIC, and PIC is the one who is responsible for determining if the plane that you are going to fly is in an airworthy condition. Hence, you would imagine that most FAA check rides will have a question about airworthiness, and they do. What is conformity to the type design or type certificate? According to AOPA, FAA's attitude has been that an aircraft must be in just about factory new condition, if it was factory built obviously, plus the alterations must be in the same condition as that when completed in accordance with a supplemental type certificate if the craft was altered, plus the aircraft must be in compliance with any applicable airworthiness directives. Whenever you are asked a question about how to determine airworthiness, you have to remember this particular meaning that FAA has for airworthiness. What FAA wants is the aircraft that you're flying should be pretty much in the same condition that they certified it when they gave it a type certificate. A type certificate is nothing but a certificate for a particular design of the aircraft that the FAA issues. For example, any model of the aircraft, it might be a Cirrus, it might be a Cessna 172. Any of these aircrafts have a type certificate, and you can locate these type certificate in the type certificate data sheet. This certificate was issued when the FAA was certifying that this particular design is airworthy, and this is how the airplane meets the airworthiness standards. It was all laid out in the type certificate. So airworthiness basically means that if your airplane is in airworthy condition, it is pretty much close to what they certified it when they did. That's what FAA wants. Now, whenever you are asked this question about airworthiness, you have to look along these three lines. The first one is documents, second is equipment, and the third is inspection. Documents. What are the documents that every aircraft must have for them to be airworthy? The first document is registration. Obviously, it must have a registration with the tail number of the aircraft. Second is airworthiness certificate. Now remember, airworthiness certificate is valid only when the aircraft is airworthy. Third is an operating limitations handbook, a POH. It must have a POH, and also it must have a current weight and balance report in the aircraft. Apart from this, it might also need a supplement for the avionics, like if you have a G1000, you would need a G1000 supplement. Another set of required documents that most aircrafts have are play cards. Play cards are found in Chapter 2 operating limitations of any POH, which says that the aircraft must have these play cards in different positions throughout the airframe where pilots can know the operating limitations of that particular component. For example, a baggage compartment might have a play card like this, while an oil compartment might have a play card like this. These play cards are important because they tell the pilots and the operators to not do certain things or do certain things, like filling the fuel correctly or not exceeding the maximum baggage weight. That is what play cards are. The second thing we consider for airworthiness is equipment. Now, equipments are very specific to the aircraft that you're flying, but I'll give you a blueprint that you can follow for pretty much every aircraft. Whenever you're looking for what equipments you need for this particular flight, look at all the 91-200 regulations, 91-205 being one of the most important ones, but there are other regulations, 91-207. All of these regulations tell you what equipment you need to carry. In your check ride, you might be asked 91-205, which you can remember using atomato flames and flaps. But in addition to 91-205, you also have the 91-207, which is ELT related regulation. In addition to the regulations, you have the kinds of operation equipment list in POHs of most general aviation aircrafts. This talks about what are the equipment required for particular operations: VFR day, VFR night, IFR day, IFR night. You must look into these operation equipment lists so that you carry the right equipment for that operation. After checking the regulations and the KOEL, you would also look for the type certificate. The type certificate is where the FAA certified a particular design for that model of the aircraft, and it has all the equipment that you need to meet the airworthiness requirements. And the fourth and the final thing that you would have to look for are ADs. If ADs require particular equipment of the aircraft to be on board and working, you would need those equipment as well. Now, these four things are also the four things you would look into for inoperative equipment related question. Let's say the examiner tells you that this particular equipment is inoperative. How do you know if you are okay to fly with this particular equipment being inoperative? You would look into these four things and see if they are required by regulations. If they are not required, you can play card it and make sure that you are safe to fly before you go flying. If these regulations require that equipment to be working, then you would have to request a special flight permit to fly to a destination where repairs can be made and repair it before you fly as a PIC. The last part of the three things that we check for airworthiness is inspections. Inspections are important and they are logged in the maintenance logbooks of each aircraft. The inspections as required by 91-409 are annual and 100 hours. Annual inspection is required irrespective of what the operation is. Every 12 calendar months, annual inspection has to be done. The 100-hour inspection is required when the flight is for hire or for flight instruction, and this 100 hours is based on takt time. Then you have the inspections required by 91-411, which is the altimeter system and altitude reporting equipment test and inspections. This 91-411 applies to IFR flights and has to be complied with within 24 calendar months of an IFR flight. Then we have 91-413, which is the ATC transponder test and inspections. And I would like to quote the regulation. It says that no person may use an ATC transponder that is specified in 91-205, 215, etc. unless within the preceding 24 calendar months the ATC transponder has been tested, inspected, and found to comply with Appendix F of Part 43 of this chapter. That means that whenever you're going to use a particular ATC transponder, it has to be tested within the past 24 calendar months. These are the inspections which are required. Then there are two other inspections which the examiner usually wants you to talk about, which is VOR checks, which have to be done within 30 days preceding a flight under IFR. And you have the ELT check, which is required by 91-207. It has to be done every 12 calendar months. These are the inspections that have to be met for airworthiness requirements. That's it. That was airworthiness in brief. Airworthiness is a little broader topic, and if you want me to cover any of these three things in much more details, as well as talk about inoperative equipment, special flight permit, what these things are, please comment down below so that I can make a video regarding these concepts. If you like this video and thought that this helped you in your preparation for your FAA check ride or a stage check that's coming up next, please do subscribe, hit the like button and also the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post any such similar videos. Look out for this series of FAA check ride preparation, because I'll be putting videos like these regularly which are related to similar concepts that are asked in FAA check rides. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.